Greetings to you all candidates, and welcome to the Manifested e-learning platform. The subject is leadership and management. In our today's session, we will continue with the topic leadership and strategic change. This lesson is a continuation of the last lesson where we were studying the theories of change. So far, we've covered 3 theories of change. Today we are moving to the 4th theory of change. The 4th theory of change is known as Kubler-Ross 5-stage theory. 5-stage management theory, change management theory. Kubler-Ross 5-stage change management theory. Change, let me put it down, change management model or theory. Kubler-Ross 5-stage change management model, and that tells you candidates there are 5 stages in the Kubler-Ross change management model. Now, in the 1960s, candidates, a psychologist known as Kubler, her other name is Elizabeth, she studied grieving and developed the now well-known and well-researched Kubler-Ross 5-stage change management theory. So, out of the study, there is a curve, all right? There is a change curve which is based on the study that was carried out by Elizabeth Kubler. Now, Elizabeth studied the process of grieving on the basis that experiencing the passing of a close relative is a major change that every human being experiences. It is a major event that forces a relative to go through a major change. It is what? It is a major event that also forces often unwanted change. When one loses a loved one, then one has to go through a change that is not good, that is not wanted. One experiences a change that is not wanted or a change that is not good at all. And candidates, the original 5 stages, the original 5 stages of grief are: number 1, denial. Number 2, the second stage is known as anger. The third stage is known as bargaining, depression, and then acceptance. Those are the original stages in the Kubler-Ross 5-stage model. And candidates, this model can be applied, and it has been applied in other fields. It can be applied to other life situations, such as loss of a job. When one loses a job, one may go through the stages that I've mentioned. It can also be applied to changes in a work environment and even other serious life conditions. And the Kubler-Ross 5-stage change management model focuses on employees. It focuses on their feelings, their concerns, as well as their needs. And since most employees go through the stages that I've mentioned, like the feelings, okay, the feelings, and the anger. I mentioned anger. I've mentioned denial. All those stages. Since most employees go through the stages, it is extremely important to do what? To keep employees informed and to have an effective business communication strategy. What do I mean? Candidates, when change is being implemented in an organization setup, it's important that the management ensures that there is proper communication to the employees, because that change may cause employees to go through the stages that we mentioned. And these are stages, and in these stages, we are dealing with feelings of people. It is extremely important to keep employees informed and to have an effective business communication strategy. And organizations that manage to understand the employees are much more likely to eliminate some of the biggest barriers towards successful change management. And candidates, this model helps employers understand better the employees and to empathize. Stage number one. Stage one is shock and denial. Shock and denial. Candidates, the first reaction to change is usually shock. And this initial shock, candidates, while frequently short-lived, can result in a temporary slowdown and loss of productivity at the workplace. When change is initiated, the first reaction is that the employees will experience is shock. They'll be shocked. And this shock may be short-lived. And though it may be short-lived, it may affect work productivity. And performance tends to dip sharply. All right? Because of the shock. When one is in a state of shock, it may not be possible to work normally. And this happens, candidates, because most people show resistance towards change and may not want to believe that change is happening. They may not want to believe what is happening. So that is stage number one. I repeat, when change is initiated, the first reaction is to show, the first reaction that employees will experience, or the first reaction is most likely to be shock and denial. And we've said that this shock and denial, whereas it may be short-lived, it may affect work performance. It may do what? It may affect work performance. Now, the second stage in the Kubler-Ross 5-stage change management model, stage number 2 is what is known as anger and depression. Anger and depression. Anger and depression. After the feelings of shock and denial, anger is often the next stage. Anger. Employees tend to get angry. All right? Because of the change, employees are most likely to do what? To get angry. And focusing the blame on someone and or something allows continuation of denial by providing another focus for the fears and the anxieties that the employees may experience. Anger and depression. And we see that candidates that denial converts into anger when employees realize that the change is actually happening. The first reaction is to deny what is happening. But once employees realize that change is happening, first of all, they get shocked, they deny what is happening. Then after some time, they realize that things are changing. So what happens? That leads to anger. And anger comes in because after denial, the employees realize that things will not go back to normal, right? That is anger, and that anger leads to depression. Step number 3, stage 3 in the Kubler-Ross 5-stage change management model is bargaining. Bargaining. What does that mean? Now, candidates, during the bargaining stage, employees try to get to the best possible solution out of the situation or the circumstance. And bargaining is a way for people to avoid ending up with the worst case scenario. So when change happens, first of all, there is shock and denial, which leads to anger. When employees realize that things will not go back to normal, they may tend to bargain, and that happens because they may realize that things may get worse. So they try and bargain so as to reduce the effects of change. Stage 4 is known as depression. Depression is stage number 4. Now, when employees realize that bargaining is not working, they may end up getting depressed and may lose faith. And some of the symptoms include low energy, it include non-commitment, it may include low motivation and lack of any kind of excitement as well as happiness. So that is stage number 4. So stage number 1, I repeat, the first reaction to change according to Kubler-Ross 5-stage change management model is shock and denial. Then when things cool down, employees realize that change is happening, they may be angered. After anger, the next phase is bargaining, then depression. When the employees realize that they may not be able to bargain. When bargaining fails, then employees may end up in depression. When employees realize that bargaining is not working, they end up doing what? Getting depressed. And some of the symptoms of depression is when employees are not happy, they don't show any kind of excitement, there is low motivation to work, and so on. Then moving on to the last stage in the this theory, stage number 5. The last stage is known as acceptance. Acceptance. Now, candidates, after the darker emotions of the second phase, anger, this is just anger. After the second stage, the darker emotion of anger, a more optimistic and enthusiastic mood may begin to emerge. After the darker phases, emotions of anger, including depression, after some time, employees may start to be optimistic. Individuals, candidates accept that, at this point, may accept that change is inevitable. And individuals or employees may begin to work with the changes rather than going against the change. And when employees realize that there is no point in fighting change, when they do what? When they realize that there is no point in fighting change anymore, they may finally accept what is happening and may begin to resign to it. And this is, you can see, candidates is the last stage. It includes integration. In fact, we can say, and integration. Acceptance and integration. The focus, candidates, here is firmly on the future, and there is a sense that real progress can be made. And candidates, by the time everyone reaches the acceptance stage, the change, you may realize that the change situation has firmly replaced the original state. Because before initiating change here, there was the original state. After the change, then that change starts to affect the employees. They go through all these stages. At the last stage, they realize that there is no point in fighting change. They realize that change is inevitable. Then they try to be optimistic. They try to accept the change, and the new status quo, the new state is accepted. Why? Because employees no longer look at what they used to do initially, but the focus here is on the future. The focus is firmly on the future, and there is, you may realize that there is a sense of real progress that is made. And by the time everyone reaches the fifth stage, you realize that the change has already replaced the original, and it has become the new reality. So these are the 5 stages in the Kubler-Ross 5-stage change model. But candidates, it should be noted that each person who is affected by change under this theory, each person or each individual may experience these emotions differently. Some people may spend a lot of time in stage number 1, others may spend more time in stage number 2, number 3, and so on. It doesn't mean that each employee will be at the same stage, all the employees will be at the same stage at the same time. No. There are those who will spend more time in shock, others will spend little time under the first stage, others will spend more time being angry with the changes, others will move on very fast to the bargaining stage. There are those who may not bother about even bargaining, they just go direct into depression. While some employees may be at depression, may find others are still in denial. So the point here is that each person reacts individually to change. And not all will experience every phase under the Kubler-Ross 5-stage change management model. No. There are those who may not even undergo some of these negative emotions. There are those who will immediately accept the change. There are those who may move direct to the last phase without having to experience some of these negative emotions. So that's a very important point to note. And candidates, the Kubler-Ross 5-stage change management model is a very useful tool when managing individual and team change. Why? Because knowing where an individual is on the curve or in the stages will help when deciding on how and when to communicate information. And it may also help on what level of support that each individual is to get. Because there are those who would be in shock, they may need different support from those who are under depression and so on. So this is the theory of change as propounded by Elizabeth Kubler. The first stage, I repeat, shock and denial. Stage 2, anger. Stage 3, bargaining. Stage 4, depression. Stage 5, acceptance. All right? Now, having discussed the 5 stages, I'll give you today's assignment. Discuss the 5 stages in the Kubler-Ross change management model. Thank you for your attention. I'll meet you in our next session where we'll discuss the last theory of change, and that is the Lewin's change management model. Bye-bye.